In the year 1907, a 12-year-old boy from Spain was presented with a big opportunity. He had to choose between staying home to support his poor widowed mother and attending a fashion school far away from home to nurture his talent. It took a lot of convincing from his mother and sponsor, Marchioness de Casa Torres, a very wealthy and popular aristocrat, to get him to travel far away from home and build a future for himself in fashion. Thanks to this decision, the boy, Cristóbal Balenciaga, grew up to be the founder of the mega fashion house Balenciaga and one of the most inspiring fashion designers ever known. This is the story of Balenciaga. We'll talk about how Cristóbal Balenciaga went from being a poor boy to a fashion icon, his life's work, and how the multi-billion-dollar fashion empire he built continues to uphold his legacy. Cristobal was born in 1895 in Getaria, a town in the Basque region of Spain. It's hard to fact-check the circumstances of his upbringing, seeing as they happened over 100 years ago, but we know that Cristobal was born into a small Spanish family. His father was a fisherman and his mother a seamstress, and they lived happily for a while until his father passed away tragically. This left young Cristobal to be raised by his seamstress mother, who struggled to make ends meet. Cristobal was a very introverted and quiet child. He helped around the house and assisted his mother while she worked. His mother's tailoring business was nothing fancy, but Cristobal's interest in fashion was born from watching her work. By the time he was 12, he had become an apprentice in the resort of San Sebastian, hoping to learn better sewing skills from the new experience. As an apprentice, Cristobal was easily the best among his colleagues, attracting the attention of very important people locally, including Marchioness de Casa Torres, the most popular female aristocrat in the town. The Marchioness fell in love with his work and became his patron. She believed that he had the potential to be a world-class designer, so she offered to enroll him in a proper tailoring school in Madrid. Leaving for Madrid was a golden opportunity, but also a difficult choice. He had to leave behind his family and his widowed mother, whom he was fond of. And although this was very inconvenient, it turned out to be the best decision of his life. In no time, Cristobal finished the tailoring program in Madrid, and when he was done, he worked as a local tailor's apprentice, where he learned the ropes of the trade. 4 years later, he knew he was ready to set up his own business. After gaining significant experience in Madrid, Cristobal returned to his hometown, where he opened his first boutique in 1919. He created his own designs, was one of the few courtiers at the time who could do it all: pattern, cut, and tailor their own designs. Cristobal's designs weren't just unique, they were also very attractive, earning him customers from all over Spain. At the age of 25, he was already an established designer, creating exquisite designs and outfits for the Spanish royal family and other fashionable aristocrats. In no time, the boutique expanded. More branches were established in Madrid and Barcelona. More outlets meant more designs and sales, and Cristobal maintained this momentum over the next 19 years. Unfortunately, when the Spanish Civil War began in 1936, his boutiques were affected. He was forced to close them. Many of his clients, who were part of the Spanish aristocracy and elite, were also directly affected by the war, leading to a decline in his customer base. Due to the decline in business, Cristobal migrated to Paris the following year, opening another boutique on Avenue George V in Paris. After settling into his new location, he wasted no time and launched his very first collection, and it was a massive hit. He had this knack for creating architectural silhouettes and sculptural shapes that were unlike anything seen before, which made him really successful. And let's not forget about his pioneering use of fabrics. The fashion world just couldn't get enough. His designs were all about elegance, precision, and carried that modern vibe that everyone adored. He didn't just stick to the norm though, he was a true fashion rebel who challenged conventions and pushed back boundaries. Just like when he introduced game-changing silhouettes, like the iconic sack dress and the adorable baby doll style. Before then, the conventional style in women's fashion during the early to mid-20th century was largely influenced by the hourglass silhouette. This silhouette emphasized a narrow waist, a full bust, and rounded hips, achieved through the use of corsets and structured undergarments. But Cristobal's genius designs marked a total revolution in women's fashion. And you know what made his creations even more special? The attention to detail and exquisite tailoring. It was like his designs were pure art, elevated to a whole new level. So yeah, this fashion genius was definitely one to watch. Being in Paris exposed Cristobal to even more elite customers, including celebrities, royalty, and socialites. His clientele ranged from Grace Kelly to Jackie Kennedy, who appreciated his impeccable taste and innovative designs. As time passed, however, he decided to expand the brand beyond clothes. In 1947, Cristobal launched the first Balenciaga perfume, La D, and a second one, La Fue Tejuer, followed the year after. Within 30 years, Cristobal had already become a force in the fashion world, but it wasn't just his designs that made people interested in him. His personal life also had a role to play in earning him that popularity. Compared to most of his competitors, Cristobal had a low-key personality. He was calm, barely said anything, allowed very few public appearances, wasn't on a lot of interviews, and only a few people had access to him. In the words of Hubert de Givenchy, the founder of Givenchy, who was also his protege, Cristobal's religious convictions made him a very discreet and humble person. He was quite mysterious and impossible to figure out. One part of his life which got everybody talking was his sexuality. Now this is where things got interesting. Cristobal was gay. Although he didn't go to great lengths to hide it, only the people closest to him knew about his sexuality and love interests at the time. Throughout his life, he developed several romantic relationships with some of his male business partners, but his two most notable love interests were Ramon Esparza and Ladjo Jaworski d'Antonville. These two men worked with him as his company's hat makers at different times. Of all his relationships, the affair with Ladjo Jaworski d'Antonville was his most intense, and some would even refer to them as soulmates. Ladjo was a Franco-Polish aristocrat, and his influence in society contributed to Cristobal's list of refined clients. The two men were inseparable. They worked together, lived together, inspired each other, and according to Elisa Urquiaga, one of Balenciaga's dressmakers, everyone in the studio knew the two were a couple, but no one said anything. Cristobal never addressed any of the rumors regarding his sexuality. He didn't care that the rumors intensified with time. Even his competitors used these rumors to take cheap shots at him and relate his sexuality to his voluminous feminine designs. For example, Coco Chanel once said, "It is obvious that Balenciaga dislikes women. Look at the way he conceals blouses under suits, just to expose the wrinkles in their necks." Regardless of the rumors, Cristobal continued running his company alongside the love of his life until everything suddenly fell apart. Ladjo died in 1948, which became known as the darkest time in Cristobal's life. He got so depressed he almost gave up and closed down the business. A loss like that took a lot to recover from. When he finally got past his grief, Cristobal fully stepped into his era as a fashion icon. Most of his iconic pieces were designed after the mourning period, and his identity as a designer became even more evident during this period. From 1948 onwards, black dresses became more popular at Balenciaga fashion shows, which could be interpreted as a powerful way to remember and mourn his lover. Cristobal's first collection after Ladjo's death was designed entirely in black to mourn his loss and to impose his grief on women while making them look as elegant as possible. In the following years, he continued to make louder fashion statements, which overshadowed the present fashion trends at the time. In the 1950s, Cristobal completely redefined the female silhouette, taking the focus off Christian Dior's new look, which was incredibly popular at the time. This new look involved a curvy hourglass silhouette with a fitted waist and prominent hips. However, Cristobal's definition of silhouette involved broad shoulders and a dropped or non-existent waistline, which became a hit. He designed several dresses with this new silhouette, but the most prominent design was the sack dress. The sack dress was a fashion piece that completely revolutionized the game, breaking all the rules of shaping and structure. Hanging loosely from the shoulders, it draped effortlessly down the body in a relaxed yet chic manner. It was a bold departure from the fitted silhouettes that were so popular at the time, offering a sense of liberation and ease. Because of its simplicity, the dress allowed for a focus on luxurious fabrics and exquisite details and craftsmanship of the piece. The sack dress was a statement piece that conveyed confidence and sophistication. Another one of his brilliant creations was the Infanta dress, which was a nod to Cristobal's Spanish heritage. The Infanta dress features a regal and voluminous silhouette with its puff sleeves and full skirt. Designs peculiar to Spanish culture were woven into this dress. This little detail set him apart from his French competitors. Yet another design was the balloon dress, a sophisticated dress created to redefine women's fashion from what Dior made it to be in the 1950s. Cristobal created other variations of this design, like the balloon jacket, which is an earlier version of puffer jackets today, and the then famous cocoon coat. Other impressive creations he designed were the baby doll dress, the tulip dress, the peacock tail dress, the sari dress, and of course, lace-on-lace dresses. These were the highlight of female fashion back in those days, and it's just like Cristobal once said, A woman has no need to be perfect or even beautiful to wear my dresses. The dress will do that for her. Throughout his lifetime, Cristobal designed dresses for A-list celebrities like Elizabeth Taylor, Grace Kelly, Jacqueline Kennedy, Margarita Salaverria Galarraga, Maya Allende de Meyer, and countless others. After announcing his retirement, one of his clients, Countess Mona Bismarck, locked herself in her room and mourned for 3 days straight just to show how devoted many of his clients were. Besides his clients, even his competitors spoke to his excellence, calling him different names like the Master or the King of Fashion. After a long and successful career as a fashion designer and a trailblazer, Cristobal decided to retire in 1968 and close up all his stores. He died 4 years later from a heart attack at 77 and was buried in his hometown. After Cristobal's death, Balenciaga was dormant for 18 years, till Jacques Bogart purchased the company in 1986. He hired many creative designers, but none were even remotely as successful and talented as Cristobal. In 1997, Nicolas Ghesquière took over as head designer and became the first designer after Cristobal to create buzz for the company. He designed outfits for celebrities such as Kate Moss, Chloe Sevigny, and Charlotte Gainsbourg, and he even attracted the attention of Vogue's editor Anna Wintour. Surprisingly, the company parted ways with Nicolas and hired Alexander Wang, who incorporated a youthful and edgy vibe into the company's designs. Wang left the company in 2015 and was replaced with Denma Vasalia, a genius who took Balenciaga to new heights of success. However, the company has faced a whole lot of scrutiny under his leadership, especially for using inappropriate props in ad campaigns. An example is an ad published in November 2022, which featured children holding teddy bears dressed in bondage and BDSM gear. Another odd ad campaign, also shot in 2022, included a $3,000 handbag sitting on a bunch of papers. A zoomed-in view of one of the documents revealed upsetting words and phrases like sexual depiction and pornography, and the word sexual was seen 4 times. The ad didn't say what the document was really about, but whatever it is, it doesn't change the fact that the company deliberately included such a controversial prop in their ad campaign yet again. The company ended up deleting these posts and apologizing for the inappropriateness, but it's probably a matter of time before another curious ad campaign resurfaces. Today, Balenciaga is known for its bold designs, over-the-top runway shows, voluminous cuts, and momentary controversies. But it is hard to ignore that the company's finally thriving just as much as it did in the 1950s. It is all thanks to the genius designer Denma Vasalia, who somehow managed to create buzz while keeping Cristobal's artistic integrity alive. If you think Balenciaga is the only fashion house with an interesting history, you're in for a surprise. The history of Versace would blow your mind. It's wild, so go check it out yourself right now by clicking the thumbnail on the screen. I'll see you there. Cheers!